an extremely powerful statement from Imam Ahmad rahimahullah that is very relevant to this current day and age is where he says, "An-nasu ila al-ilmi ahwaju minhum ila ta'ami washrabu," that the people are more in need of knowledge than they are of food and drink. You watching this video, you need the knowledge and the comprehension and the grammar and the sentence structure that you may have learned in primary school or secondary school to understand what I am saying. If you hadn't gained that knowledge, you wouldn't be able to know how to really perceive what I am saying, and you would be a bit confused. You wouldn't understand what this certain word means. So when we look at the deen of Allah, that is extremely more important, because when you weren't practicing, you may have committed certain sins that you didn't know were haram. You thought they were normal because everyone else was doing it. So where do you start when it comes to seeking knowledge? And I wish someone had told me this earlier, because I had made so many mistakes. I didn't have a sheikh analyze where I am. I didn't start with the foundations. I wanted to go to fiqh, I wanted to go to aqidah, I was excited. But when you go and you get someone to analyze, where do you stand? Do you have a lack of Arabic knowledge, in the sense that do you not know the certain combinations when you're reading the Quran in the Arabic alphabet? Like, for example, here, you see these combinations. I was extremely weak in them. So when I would read the Quran, I would go for a little bit and then I would stop. Go for a little bit, stop. Go, stop, go, stop. So this would impact my reading. I wouldn't be able to be fluent. And this shows that gaps in knowledge, they can be detrimental, because you may want to study that science and that science. However, if you have gaps in knowledge, ikhwan, like, you won't make as much progress as you want to. I was 17 learning alif, ba and ta again, and you may feel reluctant to go back and reevaluate yourself and fill those gaps in knowledge that you have, because you're seeing young children that may know more than you, or other people that make you feel bad and down because you don't know that much. However, don't think Allah Azza wa Jal is going to put you down. Don't think that if you start and make this journey and you say, okay, I'm going to go back and learn these different things I had missed, don't think Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will let that go to waste. And I don't know if anyone has told you this before. However, if you memorize one ayah for the sake of Allah, you're not doing it so that people can call you knowledgeable. You're doing it just for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be pleased with you. Don't think that it will go to waste. Identify what kind of learner you are. I personally learn the best through flashcards. So I just put the question down here and then I answer it on the other side. And that's just how I learn. You probably have a different way that you retain information better. And don't think that memorizing a lot of poetry or hadith makes you knowledgeable, because it really doesn't. What makes you knowledgeable is a lot of different things. However, one of them is acting upon that knowledge and being able to share that knowledge in a way that is beneficial towards others. If you really don't understand, try and find someone that can teach you, like a sheikh, and learn from him. Try and take notes from him, try and find out how he learns, and then replicate that in yourself. Something that I've observed and I've seen that a lot of people are struggling with is the fact that people don't really have practicing friends. And they're struggling to remain consistent in their environment. They're having times where their iman is really high, and then times where their iman just drops and becomes really bad. And the desires and the temptations, just seeing things that you can't necessarily get right now in this dunya, it can be hard for people and it can have an effect on them. Let's look at Ramadan, for example. Let's say you're fasting for around 15 or 16 hours. During this time, it may be quite hard. You may feel hungry and you may feel tired. However, once the food enters your mouth and you start eating, all of that time that you had been struggling and feeling quite hungry, it's like it all goes away. And it's the same with dua. When you're asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for something, you're begging Him, the moment you get it, it will be like all of that hardship was worth it. I know you may want righteous friends, you may want a righteous spouse, you may want money, you may want something in this life, and you are putting consistent effort towards it and trying to get it. And when you aren't seeing what you want right now, you need to remember that the hikmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is powerful and it is the best. That is the complete and best timing for what you want, Allah's judgment. There will be times where your nafs does call you to something haram, to something that is a temptation. You will have times where you will see something that you wish you could have had, but you can't have it. There will be times where you're in university, you're in secondary, or you're in college, for example, and you're having these moments where you could have done something haram. You could have done and engaged in something that is a desire. However, by you having the knowledge, by you having the ilm of what is ahead of you, what you are going to be laboring towards, how many times, well, how many years I should say, you might be on this earth, it will really make you rethink it. And by having knowledge, by studying Islam, by studying your deen properly, you can have a better understanding and a higher chance of resisting and being able to be free from your nafs and from engaging in haram. The believer must look after his body, whether it's physically, mentally, socially, or just anything that contributes to having a healthy state of mind and a healthy body. And one of the things that you can do is resistance training. And if that's not for you, there are also a lot of different options you have, like running, walking, different sports that might spark your interest. However, in terms of resistance training, I personally find it extremely beneficial because that's just something I like, to be honest. However, one of the things that I find to be quite productive is during your sets, revising something. Like I revise Arabic vocabulary, and I find it to be quite beneficial rather than wasting my time on my phone doing something that is completely unnecessary. And when it comes to your workouts, try and make sure that you're not doing it in a setting that contains free mixing. Try and do it in your house and or somewhere else, because you may be thinking, okay, I'm doing resistance training. I won't be able to do that if I'm not in the gym. And that isn't true. I may release a video, inshallah, about resistance training and how you can still build muscle at home. But that will be for another time. So, yeah, that's pretty much everything. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.